let's see if you can guess where these three golfers experienced a major change in their golf swing. The difference between what players do when they're at the top of their game and what players do when they've lost the mobility that they once had, we see here.
A player's best swing is forged in the crucible of competition. Unless you were Hogan, he had to figure it out.
The late release causes weak fades, hooks, and pulls.
On the left, you see golf's Iron Man, Bernhard Longer, fighting to stay in the shot. On the right, you see the strangest swing in the game, belonging to Jim Furyk, who has mastered the art of the release. Note the face under position in his finish.
What you're looking for, where you know you've got it right, is if you come through and you really want the club face to turn under like this, like it does for tour players when they're at their peak. Go with the late release, where you're coming down like that and swing it through like that. Hogan gave us the guideline to releasing the golf club on time in his book, 5 Lessons. Most of us just missed it. If you look at a lot of the instruction that you see out there, it's really bad. People just have it for 60 years now because they couldn't figure out what Hogan was doing. They've got this idea that the most you can do with this backhand with your throwing pin is just tuck it in and get it out of the way. The problem then is that you got people with really strong golf grips like this, and they get in that position because the lead hand goes faster than the trail hand. So they do this so that they can slow things down so the trail hand can keep up. Where you trail it. But if you know how to release with that throwing hand, the throwing hand goes as fast as.
Hard to understand that. You know, when you're young, you're fast, you're aggressive. It's hard to take that mindset, but it's important.
If you use your throwing hand like this, it causes the club face to roll in a nice natural way.
every person who's aged will admit to, your muscles get shorter, you need to stretch. It's not just at the beginning of the round. You need to stretch pretty much every swing. The best golfers in the world do something different than most. Do something so different than most golfers that it's gone largely unnoticed by instructors, players, everywhere. Now, the great players arrived at this move in part because of how much they practice, but to a larger extent because of how much they needed to succeed in competition. To Ben Hogan, releasing on time did not come naturally. He had to figure out how to do it.
Yes, Ben Hogan did have a dream that played a significant role in his golfing career. According to Hogan, he had an enlightening dream in 1946, the year he won his first major. In this dream, he saw the swing of an old Scottish professional who rotated around his left side. This dream helped Hogan understand the concept of pronation, which involved cupping his left wrist at the top of the swing. This adjustment was a key element of what became known as Hogan's secret to the successful golf swing. Ben Hogan's 5 Lessons, The Modern Fundamentals of Golf, is a classic in the world of golf instruction. It's often hailed as the golfer's Bible for its timeless teachings. Written by Ben Hogan, one of the greatest golfers in history, the book breaks down the essentials of sound golf swing into 5 easy-to-understand lessons. Here's a brief summary. The grip. Hogan emphasizes the importance of proper grip, describing it as the foundation of good swing. He provides detailed instructions on how to hold the club correctly, stance and posture. This lesson focuses on the correct stance and posture. Hogan explains how the feet should be positioned, the importance of balance, and how to set up to the ball. The first part of the swing, Hogan delves into the initial movements of the backswing, stressing the importance of smooth and controlled takeaway. The second part of the swing, this lesson covers the transition from backswing to downswing, highlighting the need for proper timing and coordination. Summary and review. Hogan wraps up by reviewing the key points from the previous lessons and providing additional tips to refine one's swing. Each lesson is illustrated with detailed diagrams and photos to help golfers visualize and implement Hogan's techniques. The book's impact is lasting as it continues to be a good guide for golfers looking to improve their game, a true testament to Hogan's expertise and ability to teach the game.
Here's why it works. Flex the muscles in the backs of your legs, making this seesaw motion. And your lead arm swings wide. We've all done the one arm motion. But when you add in the throwing motion with the other, which is really just a walking motion, arm moves forward, opposite leg straightens, and you have a kinetic motion. Golfers either learn real young and then they develop the instinct for doing things right, or they learn the right things over time with a lot of practice. To the rest of us, it has a name. flatter backswing. The cupped wrist at the top of the backswing. The weaker grip, weak because of how few knuckles you could see, but it was actually quite strong because of how much mobility he had when you learn to release on time. And the other thing about Hogan's stance and game was that his posture was more upright, because he wasn't geared out there. When you're geared out there, you lean over the ball like this, however people do it, because you're thinking over there. When your thinking is along this line, you stand more upright and your shoulders turn more level. They don't turn under like this, they turn around like this. Flatter swing, around like this, because you're releasing in that direction. Skipping a rock or throwing sidearm is commonly believed to be motion, which is out here. However, something is being left out there, that skipping the rock,
I am not offended,
means releasing the club plate. In the golf swing, we have the golf ball. Here, when we take into account the golf, when we try to skip the rock out there, we have the motion ball plummets right down into the water at our feet. He realized, though, that to correctly release at the ball, you would in fact skip the rock in that direction. And ta-da, you have a nicely skipped rock and a well-released club and a correct throw. This leaf is excellent for illustrating exactly how the late release works. Look at it as if the golf ball were here, my fingers. The person waits to release here. They're making a late release. The release that is effective, that is on time, follows these veins. This line here being your top dead center right at the ball. And then for those with fast hands, we progress further down and follow the next vein, for instance. Hogan described that as having maximal speed at 1 to 2 feet after impact. Hogan stressed the importance of hitting partial wedges, 3/4, half shots. When the loft gets above 45 degrees, the shape of a parabola changes because the spin removes the ball from its natural loft and takes it vertical, causes it to balloon. From only 82 yards, a half pitching wedge was perfect, whereas a full gap wedge into the wind uphill came up short. Getting the face under is easier with short mid-irons. Must have something to do with taking a divot. The Hogan waggle was more than just an arbitrary motion move under Hogan's instruction. Address the ball, make a waggle, forward with the hips, turning. The club is returned just about to impact. Then in the forward waggle, we come to directly ahead of the toe. It's quartered out. Back waggle, hip turn, forward, back to impact, forward waggle, to there. That space comprises the most critical part of the swing. It's not arbitrary. It's science. Hogan's angle is science. Hogan clearly defined exactly what matters for the golf swing. There's been a development since the time of shooting this video. Over the last few days, this practice swing has proven very effective. The wrist that I injured playing right-handed 5 months before starting this channel is now suffering in my left-handed swing. And it's suffering because of all the extension that I'm getting coming through the ball, extending this direction. I have pushed my injury to its outer limits, and now I need people. Since you'll get better at golf, I expect some compensation in return. You'll find contact information in my bio. I'll also link that in the description of this video. When we talk, first conversation will be free. I'll determine from your talent level how long it will take to get you there, and then charge accordingly.